There is a secret that is never spoken aloud, yet it runs like a golden thread through every spiritual tradition and through the lives of those who are truly wealthy. It is not a business strategy, not a cheerful slogan, nor endless hours of toil. That secret is silence. When you learn to hold your frequency in stillness, to give thanks for what is yet unseen, to live in integrity with the sincerity of your intention, you do not merely attract wealth, you become wealth itself. Step into this journey where every old belief is unfastened, where each silent moment opens a new doorway, and where you finally realize that prosperity has been within you from the very beginning. The secret of sacred silence, true wealth, has never belonged to those who shout the loudest, who clamor for attention, or who chase after the recognition of the crowd. It belongs to those who know how to guard a sacred secret in their hearts, to those who hold an intention unexposed, to those who keep a hidden flame burning quietly within. In the modern world, people are taught that they must declare their goals publicly, that they must announce loudly in order to prove their determination. But the deeper truth is entirely different. The more you speak, the more your energy is dispersed, the more your intention is exposed, the easier it is for the young seed to be swept away by the winds of doubt. The secret of silence has always been the foundation upon which the great ones of history have stood. Observe a seed. It does not sprout amidst cheering voices or under blazing light, but in the quiet darkness of the earth. It is the stillness that shields it from the wind, from the birds, from curious hands. Prosperity in both the spiritual and material realms is the same. It requires a hidden environment where intention is preserved in its purity. When faith is not yet steady, speaking too soon is like opening a door for fear and doubt to enter. How many grand ideas have died before their time simply because they were dragged into the light too early? People believe that the more they share, the more encouragement they will receive. But the truth is, with every retelling, energy is scattered. The listener carries their own opinions, prejudices, and limitations, and unintentionally sows seeds of doubt within you. In that moment, your once pure intention becomes diluted, losing its original strength. To keep silent is not to hide out of fear, but to act with wisdom. It is a deliberate choice to protect the fragile vibration of a new desire, to give it the time it needs to grow strong into unshakable faith. Look to nature, and you will see. Every great thing begins in silence. A child is formed in the stillness of the womb. A mountain rises day by day without fanfare. A river carves deep into the earth for centuries, unseen. The universe itself teaches us that silence is the cradle of all creation. Only when one learns to honor that silence do they truly touch the power to shape their own life. The great spiritual teachers, those whose lives left an indelible mark upon humanity, all knew this secret. They did not flaunt an idea before it had form. They did not seek validation. They nurtured their vision quietly within until the inner flame grew so strong that nothing could extinguish it. And when the time arrived, what they had carried in silence burst forth with the force to change the world. This was not luck, but the natural law of life in action. Sacred silence is the shield that guards the seeds of prosperity. When you keep it for yourself, you are building an invisible wall that keeps out low vibrations. You are preserving the essence of your pure energy. In silence, faith requires no proof, only inner steadfastness. In silence, the frequency of prosperity is maintained, unpolluted by the noise of the outside world. Yet silence does not mean passivity. The silence we speak of here is a creative state. It is when you refrain from speaking, yet your mind and heart are at their most active. You imagine, you feel, you believe, with the fullness of your being. That silence is like the soil that nourishes the seed. It is hidden, yet it produces everything. Without that darkness, without that shelter, no tree would ever grow. In daily life, the secret of silence can be practiced at once. When you birth a new dream, a new plan, resist the urge to proclaim it. Let it live within you. Let it grow through your care, through your quiet faith. By practicing sacred silence, you are cultivating inner mastery. You no longer depend on the nods or frowns of others. In that moment, you become the true master of your destiny. Remember this, the world does not need to know what you are nurturing. It is enough that you know. It is enough that you remain steadfast. When the time comes, the results will speak for themselves. Others may think your success appeared suddenly, but you will know it began long ago in the sacred stillness you faithfully guarded. This is a secret simple, yet profound. Whoever learns it will no longer need to chase prosperity, for they themselves will have become the very source of prosperity. The trap of early sharing, more than once in your life, you have felt that surge of excitement when a new idea strikes you, when you set a bold financial goal, or when you glimpse an opportunity that seems powerful enough to change your destiny. That flame blazes so brightly that you can hardly contain it. You rush to call a friend, to tell your family, even to post it on social media. You imagine that by sharing you are strengthening your intention. But what happens is the very opposite. The flame that once burned vividly begins to fade. The opportunity that seemed so clear becomes blurred. And the momentum that was surging forward suddenly vanishes without a trace. This is the dangerous trap of early sharing. When you speak out what is still fragile in your mind, you unwittingly expose it to countless layers of energy. Even those who mean well often bring along their own limitations, fears, or doubts bit by bit. Their vibrations seep into your intention, and it loses its original purity. It is like opening a door and letting strange winds blow upon a newly kindled fire. That fire is not yet strong enough to withstand, and in the end, only ashes remain. The subtle danger here is that you do not even recognize the loss. You simply notice your initial enthusiasm fading away, and you conclude that perhaps the timing was wrong, that the idea was not feasible after all. But that is not the truth. It was the act of sharing too soon that robbed you of your inner power, drained your focus, and leaked away your creative energy. The trap of early sharing is even more deceptive because it creates a false sense of progress. When you tell others about your goal, your mind experiences a small dose of satisfaction, as if you had already taken a step forward. That premature satisfaction lowers your drive to act. Psychology has confirmed this. Every time you declare your plans, the brain releases chemicals that mimic the feeling of achievement, even though in reality you have done nothing. The fire of action is drained by nothing more than a few spoken words. So let me ask you, how many times have you lived through this, when a once brilliant goal dimmed and died after you told others about it? If this story brings to mind a particular moment, be honest with yourself. Recognition is the first step to breaking the cycle. I ask you now, as you listen, do you realize how many of your dreams died prematurely simply because you spoke of them too soon? If you do, then nod silently within your heart to acknowledge that you are truly here, truly resonating with this. Thank you for being honest with yourself, and thank you for staying present. Your presence makes this truth come alive more than ever. Consider a familiar example. You decide to start a business. You craft a detailed plan, and you feel a powerful surge of energy urging you forward. But within days, you begin to tell your friends, one says the market is oversaturated, Another warns you of lack of capital, and another raises legal risks. All those words, though born of concern, plant seeds of doubt, and so, from a plan full of fire, you begin to hesitate, to slow down until finally you abandon it. Not because you lacked ability, but because you exposed your dream too soon to the crosswinds of doubt. Silence in the early stage is not only protection, it is the assertion of your sovereignty. It allows your creative energy to remain concentrated, undiluted by meaningless conversations. In silence, all your power is focused on nurturing the seed within. In speaking too soon, you unconsciously scatter that power outward, leaving little to sustain your own creation. The trap of early sharing is also proof of the ego's weakness. The ego longs for recognition, for praise, for the validation of being special. But the soul needs only certainty, patience, and quiet strength. When you choose silence, you rise above the ego and give space for the soul to breathe, for your intention to be nourished by the purest energy. Remember, every act of creation requires a season in darkness. A tree must root before it rises. A child must spend 9 months in the mother's womb. And your intention is the same. It needs protection, quiet care, and your silence. To share too soon is to cut short that sacred incubation, and the cost is nothing less than the loss of what is most precious. Once you understand this, your relationship with your goals will change. Instead of rushing to find someone to listen, you will learn to write them down, to reflect, to pray silently, and to wait patiently for the right time. Then silence will no longer feel like restraint, but like a strength you willingly embrace. And that choice, the choice of silence, will save you from the dangerous trap that nearly everyone at one time or another has fallen into. The law of money's vibration. Money does not move in the way most people imagine. It is not swayed by desperate pleas, nor stirred by hollow slogans, nor compelled by vision boards filled with pictures and wishes. Money, like every form of energy in the universe, responds only to vibrational alignment. It flows toward those who have tuned themselves to the proper frequency, a frequency steady, consistent, and silent. When a person continually broadcasts signals of anxiety, fear, or lack, no matter how hard they work, no matter how many prayers they whisper or affirmations they repeat, the outcome will be stagnation. For the frequency they send forth is not one of abundance, but of insufficiency. The universe does not hear their words. It reacts only to the vibration that rises from within. The law of vibration in relation to money can be seen clearly in daily life. Some people do not exhaust themselves, do not make loud proclamations, and yet opportunities always seem to flow their way. Meanwhile, others labor endlessly, sacrificing everything, and still circle in poverty. The difference does not lie in hours worked or the volume of their declarations, but in the inner state of vibration. The first person operates from quiet certainty, from a stillness that whispers, "I deserve, and it shall be mine, asterisk." The second radiates tension, fear, and disbelief, and so money avoids them just as water flows away from high ground toward lower places. This frequency cannot be faked. It cannot be manufactured by hurried affirmations or pasted together with pictures on a wall. It is the result of deep harmony between thought, feeling, and the innermost belief. When your inner world is aligned, when no conflict remains between desire and fear, money comes on its own. But if you declare you want wealth while your heart trembles with worry and doubt, The frequency you broadcast is nothing more than the echo of lack, and money cannot respond to that. Think of a radio. You cannot tune into classical music while still set to the frequency of news. You must turn the dial, find the right station, and hold it there. Money works the same way. It comes only when you tune yourself to the channel of prosperity. The difference is that while a radio needs only a twist of the knob, you must build certainty within your soul. This is certainty unshaken by circumstance, unmoved by the sight of your bank account, unshaken even in moments of difficulty. It is a quiet certainty, a power that does not boast or prove itself, but draws money like a magnet, draws iron. Throughout history, both financial and spiritual giants have grasped this secret. They did not waste energy trying to convince others to believe in their plans. They cultivated an inner state where doubt could not enter. From there, money and opportunity flowed as naturally as water downhill. Napoleon Hill noted that the wealthiest men he studied all knew how to guard their burning desire from being dispersed through careless words. Neville Goddard declared that everything visible is only the reflection of the invisible consciousness. The purer and more aligned that consciousness, the clearer the results appear in life. The power of this law lies in consistency. A fleeting vibration is not enough to attract. It must be sustained until it becomes your natural state. This requires practice, just as muscles grow only with training. Each day, instead of letting the mind chase fear, you return to certainty. You choose calmness even while the world is in chaos. Over time, that frequency becomes your new identity. Then money ceases to be something you chase. It becomes something that finds you. The remarkable thing is its quietness. Many believe they must display themselves to be noticed, but the universe does not operate like a crowd. It responds to what is hidden, to what needs no proof. A soul at rest, humble yet assured of its fullness, radiates a signal stronger than any words. This is why those who are truly successful often appear calm, even modest. They have no need for slogans, for their vibration speaks louder than any proclamation. The law of vibration in money plays no favorites. It does not care who you are, where you come from, or how many degrees you hold. It answers only to the frequency you emit. A simple farmer with unshakable faith can live in abundance, while a learned scholar drowned in doubt may remain in struggle. For money knows only resonance. It comes not through reason, but through the alignment of your whole being. When you understand this, you will no longer chase after shallow secrets or quick tricks. You will realize that the true work is not out there, but within. Adjust your inner frequency, align with abundance, and let silence cultivate your certainty. That is the only enduring path by which money, opportunity, and prosperity become a natural part of your life. The ritual of silence, every great intention is born in a moment of stillness. It is the instant when your mind touches a new vision, a new opportunity, a desire that seems far beyond your present reality. Yet the moment that intention emerges, it is delicate. If you expose it too soon, it can easily be poisoned by doubt, by limitation, and by the opinions of others. The ritual of silence is the sacred shield that guards the seedlings of prosperity, allowing them to grow in their purest state. Throughout history, the great creators, the ones who turned ideas into empires, understood the power of silence. They did not boast, nor did they seek approval. They knew that when an intention is not yet strong enough, every word spoken becomes a leak of energy, a single objection, a raised eyebrow. A piece of fearful advice could shake faith, causing the seed to wither before it takes root. For this reason, they chose to remain silent, to nourish their vision with focus and unwavering belief. Picture an artist conceiving a masterpiece. He does not carry his unfinished canvas to the marketplace. He guards it in his studio, refining every stroke, perfecting every detail, until the work is strong enough to speak for itself. A financial or spiritual intention is no different. You must keep it in the quiet chamber of consciousness, feed it with imagination, with emotion, with trust, until it can stand on its own. The ritual of silence is not avoidance, nor concealment born of fear. It is wisdom. It teaches you when to hold back and when to speak. It demands that you discern between the voice of your inner being and the echo of the world. Above all, it reminds you that every great creation requires a period of hidden growth before it can emerge. The problem is that human beings are often too impatient. The moment a spark appears, they rush to tell it, as though speaking it aloud would make it more real. But the truth is the opposite. Every time you reveal your vision, you hand others the power to interfere with their energy, and not everyone has the capacity to resonate with your dream. Many will doubt, many will resist, and many will unwittingly plant seeds of confusion. You think you are seeking encouragement, but what you often receive are limitations disguised as care. The ritual of silence calls you inward. There, you learn to protect your faith from the noise outside. You allow your intention to breathe. In the pure air of clarity, you let it grow by its own inner power, rather than by praise or approval. And in this process, you train yourself in steadfastness, learning to rely on your own conviction rather than the gaze of others. The wonder of silence is this: energy is no longer scattered. All your strength converges on the realization of your intention, like a river no longer divided into small streams, but gathered into a force strong enough to carve stone and open new paths. In silence, you need prove nothing to anyone. You need defend against no judgment. You have only one task: to hold the pure frequency, to maintain consistency, to preserve faith. You may ask, how will I know when it is the right time to share? The answer is simple. When you no longer need validation, when the intention has become a part of you, when your faith is unshakable by any word, then you can share as an act of giving, not as a plea for support. Until then, let it rest in the sacred space of silence. Are you nurturing an intention, a dream that feels too precious to hand over hastily to the world? If so, let this be your reminder. Keeping it to yourself for now is protection, not weakness. And let me ask you, directly answer me in the comments. Are you ready to break the habit of premature exposure and choose the wisdom of silence instead? If you are truly ready, simply write, I am ready to change asterisk, or type the number *1, asterisk. That will be the sign that you are truly present, truly listening, and stepping into this journey of transformation with me. Thank you for walking with me this far. Your presence is proof that the seeds sown in silence will one day bloom and bear fruit. The incubation stage, every financial breakthrough, every transformation in life passes through a silent stage that few have the patience to endure. It is the season of incubation when the seed of intention still lies hidden deep within the unseen soil, with no visible sign of sprouting. This is the most critical stage, yet also the one most often overlooked, because people are restless to see immediate results. When no evidence appears, they rush to seek validation, to ask for opinions, or they abandon their pursuit altogether. And it is this very impatience that causes so many seeds of prosperity to die before they ever mature. In the incubation stage, Discipline is required more than at any other time. Discipline not to seek recognition from the outside. Discipline not to break the process with doubt. Discipline to continue nurturing faith, even when the eye sees no change at all. For what truly matters never begins on the surface. It always begins in the unseen. When you plant a seed, you cannot expect a tree in a single day. Yet in those days, when nothing is visible beneath the soil, life is at work ceaselessly, roots are spreading, structure is forming, energy is gathering in preparation for an eventual eruption of growth. Financial breakthroughs are no different. If you can wait in faith, one day opportunity will arrive suddenly, as though out of nowhere. In truth, it is the harvest of a process that has long been unfolding in silence. The dividing line between those who succeed and those who quit lies in the ability to believe in the unseen during the absence of evidence. The successful understand that silence is not the absence of movement, but the environment necessary for new life to form. The greatest challenge in this stage is the mind's constant demand for proof. It craves visible results, measurable progress, constant confirmation. But if you dig up the seed again and again to check its growth, you destroy the process. Spiritual discipline is the ability to walk in trust without immediate evidence, to know that the unseen process is already working for you. When you cultivate patience, you not only strengthen endurance, you elevate your vibration to another level. Where faith itself becomes a creative power, many fail not because they lack skill or opportunity, but because they lack patience in the incubation stage. They quit just before the seed breaks the ground. They let doubt and restlessness shatter the process. But those who understand this secret behave differently. They nurture intention in silence, sustain faith with steadfastness, and allow time to fulfill its role. When the appointed moment arrives, the result emerges naturally. Strong and undeniable, the incubation stage brings another gift. It trains your inner life to become fertile ground. During this time, you learn to observe your emotions, to still your restlessness, to return again and again to inner peace. This becomes the foundation that enables you to sustain results once they manifest. Many gain opportunities, yet fail to hold them, simply because their inner strength was never forged during the season of incubation. Never forget, the universe does not run by your calendar. It runs by the law of natural maturity. If you force it, you reap only disappointment. But if you trust, you will find harmony. One day, you will look back and realize that every waiting period, every moment of patience, every silence you endured was the essential condition for prosperity to appear in its most radiant form. The incubation stage is an invitation into a higher kind of maturity. Maturity in patience, maturity in faith, maturity in the ability to embrace silence and accept the unseen. And when you truly pass through it, you will understand that every great achievement is born twice. First in the invisible realm, where you nurture it in silence. Then in the visible world, where it appears as undeniable proof of your faith. Whoever understands and honors this stage holds not only the key to financial prosperity, but also the key to the very art of creation in life itself. Reprogramming the wealth consciousness, true transformation on the path of prosperity does not end with numbers, bank balances, or visible opportunities. It goes deeper. It begins in consciousness itself, in the neural pathways and beliefs that were programmed from childhood. Most people grow up in an atmosphere of scarcity, where money is tied to anxiety, where prosperity is shadowed by guilt, where desire is suppressed by the constant question of worthiness. A wealth consciousness cannot take root if those old programs still rule the mind, to change for real, you must rebuild from the ground up. You must rewrite the scripts that have long been etched into the subconscious. In the brain, there are neural pathways like well-trodden trails. If each day you think money is hard to earn, that you are not good enough, that wealth belongs to others, those trails become the only routes your mind can travel. You need not consciously believe it, for the nervous system fires automatically. To escape, you must carve new paths. Every thought of abundance, every choice to believe in your own capability is a brick laid down for a new road. Repeated and sustained, these new roads grow stronger while the old ones fade. This is the very science of reprogramming the wealth consciousness. Yet this reprogramming does not rest in intellect alone. It requires an inner center of sufficiency to anchor it. This is the place where you no longer measure your worth by circumstance, no longer tie your belief to praise or external approval. It is where you realize your essence has always been wealthy, not because of accounts or status, but because of your connection to the infinite source of creation. When you return to this center, scarcity dissolves as illusion. From there, money ceases to be something you chase. It becomes the natural flow that responds to your presence. There is a truth few dare admit. Wealth is an energy state before it is a financial result. You cannot approach money through vibrations of fear. You cannot expect prosperity while your consciousness is still wrapped in memories of lack. You need a complete renewal, not just a change of phrases, but a root-deep transformation where every cell, every neural pathway begins to carry a new message. This is the power of the voice within, not just a voice you hear, but a space you return to. Asterisk. This inner voice is not loud, nor does it need to echo, but it is the sanctuary where you rediscover the truth that you were whole from the beginning, the truth that scarcity is but a shadow handed down through generations, the truth that anyone can step out of old programming and rewrite their destiny. When you grasp this, you no longer see money as an enemy, nor prosperity as a privilege of the few. You see money as neutral energy reflecting your state of being. If you are full, money flows naturally as a response. If you are empty, money avoids you, not because it has a will, but because it only mirrors the frequency you emit. The journey of reprogramming wealth consciousness is also the journey of releasing engraved memories. Perhaps you heard your parents sigh that hard work was the only way to scrape by. Perhaps you witnessed scarcity tearing at the fabric of your home. Those memories leave imprints, causing you to assume that wealth is distant, that material peace comes only after exhaustion, but you need not remain trapped in that cycle. Each time you choose a new belief, you rewrite your own history. Each time you dare to declare, I am worthy of abundance, asterisk, you lay the foundation for a new nervous system. As your wealth consciousness is renewed, your actions shift as well. You no longer decide out of fear of loss, but out of certainty in your worth. You no longer chase opportunities from desperation, but choose what aligns with your mission and your inner peace. Thus your actions carry multiplied power, for they spring from fullness, not from lack, and such actions always yield lasting results. Reprogramming wealth consciousness is not only the work of the mind, it is a spiritual journey. It is learning to hear the inner voice that tells you that you are not limited, that you need not prove anything to be worthy, that abundance has always been your essence. When you live from this voice, you step into another realm where money becomes a tool of expression, not a burden to pursue. And when this process is complete, you will witness true transformation. You will not only have more money, you will have a soul at peace, a life that expands, a system of beliefs renewed. You will no longer fear loss, for you will know the source is unending. You will no longer be haunted by scarcity, for you will have returned to the inner center of abundance. This is the very foundation upon which all lasting prosperity is built. Collective resonance on the journey toward prosperity. People often assume that success is purely an individual effort, that with persistence, hard work, and unwavering faith, results will follow. This is not wrong, but it is incomplete. There is another subtle force, often overlooked, and that is collective resonance. When an individual walks in authenticity, holding a pure frequency and remaining steadfast in their inner journey, they begin to draw in kindred souls. These connections are not calculated nor built on the exchange of interests, but arise naturally like rivers flowing toward one another to merge into the sea. In the modern world, networking is treated as an essential skill. People attend events, exchange business cards, add connections on social media, all in the hope of creating opportunities. But such networking touches only the surface. It forges fragile bonds, dependent on temporary interests. Collective resonance is entirely different. It springs from vibrational alignment, from the meeting of those who share a similar level of awareness. When two or more people share a pure vibration, they become magnets for opportunities beyond any strategy. Look closely, and you will notice encounters so uncanny that they cannot be dismissed as coincidence. Someone appears at the exact moment you need them, carrying advice, experience, or an open door you never expected. These are not accidents. They are the fruit of resonance. When you walk in authenticity, you emit a signal, and those carrying the same signal are drawn to you, not by design, but by natural law. What makes collective resonance different is the quality of its energy. Instead of requiring effort to sustain, these relationships are inherently durable. You do not need to impress, nor to hide your true self. In resonance, all masks fall away. People recognize one another not by words, but by a feeling, a sense of familiarity, as if they've known each other long before, as if the meeting was destined to occur. Collective resonance also opens doors that individual effort alone can scarcely unlock. While traditional networking is limited by specific goals, collective resonance often leads to unforeseen opportunities. A chance conversation becomes the starting point of a new journey. An unexpected partnership turns into a turning point, and all of it happens without pursuit. Your frequency, your authenticity, does the work of attraction. This explains why some people always seem to meet the right partners, the right mentors, the right collaborators. They are not necessarily the most skilled communicators, nor those with the widest social strategies. They simply maintain a pure frequency, and from that, a network of resonance forms around them. Naturally, the strength of collective resonance lies not in creating burdens, but in creating flow. In truth, this is how the universe always operates. In nature, bees find flowers, flowers welcome bees, and both flourish. There is no bargaining, no forcing, only natural alignment. Humanity is no different. When you live true to your frequency, you become like a flower, releasing its fragrance. Those of the same frequency will find you. There is no need to shout, no need to prove. Resonance itself will complete the work. Collective resonance carries an even deeper gift. It does not merely open outer opportunities. It fortifies the inner life. When you step into a circle of aligned souls, your faith is uplifted, your resolve is strengthened, and you no longer feel alone. No networking tactic can provide this, for it arises from the soul, not from self-interest. The key is authenticity. You cannot fake frequency. You may play a role in conversation, but you cannot deceive vibration. If you still operate from scarcity and fear, you will attract relationships that mirror exactly that state. But when you have truly reprogrammed your wealth consciousness, when you stand in sufficiency, collective resonance will draw you to those who carry the same light. From there, a natural, enduring, opportunity-filled network forms around you. Collective resonance does not replace individual effort, but it multiplies it. It is like when one instrument strikes the right note, the entire orchestra resonates, creating a sound that carries farther than any single voice alone. You may move quickly. In resonance, you move farther with greater endurance. This is the subtle foundation that true architects of wealth understand and cherish. Flow instead of force. From childhood, we are taught a simple formula. The harder you try, the greater your success. The more effort you expend, the more results you receive. This linear belief takes root and drives us into cycles of exhaustion, working ourselves to the brink, sacrificing health, trading peace of mind, all in the hope that one day the reward will come. Yet upon closer observation, this is revealed as illusion. For some labor endlessly, yet remain trapped in scarcity, while others seem to move lightly, effortlessly drawing in opportunities. The difference is this: one strives through force, the other moves with the flow. Flow is the natural law by which the universe operates. A river does not strain to reach the ocean. It simply follows the terrain, seeking the path of least resistance. A tree does not tear the earth apart to grow. It rises patiently, little by little, toward the light. When we move against this law, we generate resistance, and resistance always leads to exhaustion. The truth is, you do not need more strength to be wealthy, you need less resistance. It is not that the harder you try, the more you gain. Rather, the more you align with flow, the more naturally results appear. This does not mean passivity or waiting idly. It means knowing when to pause, when to release desperation, when to let stillness do its work. In stillness, you no longer act from fear, no longer strive to prove yourself. You begin choosing steps aligned with your inner truth. At that moment, you step out of force and into creation. Force is always born of lack. When you believe you are not enough, you act from a posture of chasing, straining to compensate. But flow arises from sufficiency. When you believe you already have, you act from calm assurance. And it is this calmness that opens wider doors. The outer world is only a mirror of inner frequency. If you are filled with pressure, the world responds with obstacles. If you are at ease, the world answers with openings. There is a subtle difference between acting in flow and acting in force. Force keeps you endlessly busy, yet your results are small compared to the energy spent. Flow may appear as doing less, yet because your actions strike at the right moment and right opportunity, the outcomes are multiplied. The wise are not those who do the most, but those who know when to act and when to let the universe arrange. In reality, breakthroughs often come when you stop, when you cease desperate striving, the mind clears, and in that clarity, solutions appear. That is the moment you step out of the spiral of force and touch the current of flow. This may sound paradoxical, but it is a truth proven in every field, from art and business to spiritual life. Stillness is not emptiness, but balance restored. It is like the pause between two notes, the very pause that creates the melody. When you learn to stop, you allow energy to renew, wisdom to speak, and the universe to carry you not where you strain to go, but where you are meant to be. The world has its rhythm, and if you walk with it, you will go farther than by straining against it. Ultimately, the lesson is faith. Only by trusting natural law can you relax. Only by believing that the universe moves in perfect order can you stop forcing, and when you trust, you return to your essence where everything moves with the current. Wealth is not born of tension, but of resonance with law. When you release fear and desperation, you do not lose opportunity. You unlock countless doors you had never seen before. Flow instead of force is the key to breaking the cycle of exhaustion in which so many remain trapped. It is the invitation to act from fullness, not from lack, to pause and listen instead of plunging into chaos, to choose stillness instead of despair. When you enter this state, you will see clearly the truth. The universe was never closed to you. It was only waiting for you to stop resisting so it could give you what has been yours all along. Releasing inherited programming. Deep within the subconscious of every person lie invisible imprints about money. These imprints are not ones you chose, but ones formed from the words of parents, the behavior of family, and the atmosphere of the society in which you grew up. As a child, you may have heard over and over again that money is never enough, that wealth requires compromising morals, that money always brings trouble. Such seemingly harmless phrases became hidden programming, like an unseen handbrake, keeping your vehicle from ever reaching full speed. You may study diligently, work tirelessly, pursue countless financial strategies, but as long as that handbrake remains, you will always feel restrained. Every effort becomes heavy. Every opportunity slips away just when you are about to grasp it. This is not the cruelty of fate, but the natural consequence of inherited programming operating beneath awareness. Releasing inherited programming does not mean denying the past or rebelling against your family. It is an act of awakening, of recognizing that not every belief you carry truly belongs to you. Once you see this, you can begin to step free from the weight of old notions. The truth is, money is neither evil nor a prize reserved for a select few. It is simply neutral energy, always ready to flow toward the place of open receptivity. The key is to listen to the inner knowing. This voice is not the echo of fear or inherited memory. It does not shout or rush. It whispers a simple truth. You are already enough. You are already worthy. And you need not borrow anyone else's beliefs to live fully. When you return to this voice, you feel a unity within, where your inner life no longer conflicts with your desire, where you cease sabotaging yourself. Observe closely, and you will see how inherited programming reveals itself in specific moments. When an investment opportunity arises, yet in your head echoes the phrase, "Money doesn't grow on trees." Asterisk. When you are offered a raise, but a sense of unworthiness rises within when you want to start a business, but immediately recall a relative's failure. These reactions are not truly yours. They are the echoes of programming you absorbed, and every time you accept them, the invisible handbrake tightens its grip. Breaking free from this handbrake requires 2 steps. The first is recognition. You must pause and ask, does this belief really belong to me? Asterisk. If it is only the echo of someone else, you have the right to release it. The second is replacement. A new belief must be planted, not through logic alone, but through repeated experience. Each time you act from the new belief, the neural pathways in your brain are reinforced, and gradually the entire system of programming within you is transformed. What matters most is that you do not need to erase the past to move forward. You only need to stop identifying with borrowed beliefs. The past may remain, but it no longer commands the present. Just as when you release the handbrake, the car can move instantly, even if it had been stationary for years. In this process, inner openness is the key. When you remain in fear, you close the door of reception. But when you trust, when you allow the inner knowing to guide you, the door swings wide, and money and opportunity find their way to you. This is no miracle. It is simply the natural working of the law of resonance. Once you dismantle inherited programming, you will feel a profound lightness, no longer held back, no longer torn between desire and fear. You walk with consistency, and that consistency is the strongest signal the universe responds to. Prosperity then ceases to be a chase and becomes the honest reflection of a liberated consciousness. True wealth does not begin with adding more, but with removing beliefs that are not yours, removing invisible barriers, releasing the handbrakes that have held you for years. And in that fresh space, you realize the inner knowing was never silent. It has always been waiting for you to listen, to show you the path of unity and openness, the path you were born to walk, the frequency of words and silence. Every word you speak is more than a fleeting sound in the air. It is a vibration etched into your field of energy. Words can open doors, but they can also close entire pathways. When a person complains continually, they are not merely describing hardships, they are reprogramming their nervous system and vibrational frequency into a state of lack. Each phrase of I cannot or I do not have becomes a steady broadcast, summoning deficiency to dwell with them. It is no surprise then that those who live in the habit of complaint find ever more reasons to complain for. They have turned themselves into magnets for experiences that echo their own words. By contrast, conscious silence is not avoidance, but the refined art of keeping your frequency pure. When you stop speaking words that reinforce scarcity, you break the cycle of self-sabotage. You create space for energy to recover, for clarity to rise and speak. This is not the silence of weakness, but the silence of one who knows the power of vibration, who understands that at times restraint is the strongest act of mastery. Words carry specific frequencies, and your body responds to them moment by moment. A word of complaint can create nervous tension, quicken the heartbeat, and tighten the breath. A word born of sufficiency, on the other hand, relaxes the body, opens the chest, and clears the mind. Neuroscience today confirms what sages long knew. Words do not merely affect emotions in the moment they shape the very structure of the brain. Repeated long enough, you become the embodiment of the language you most often speak. This is why the first step for anyone seeking prosperity is not to chase money, but to relearn speech, to speak less, to choose carefully, and most of all, to remain silent. When the words at the tip of your tongue would only feed lack, a person can transform their destiny simply by transforming their daily language. But even deeper, lasting change comes from the practice of conscious silence, keeping your frequency clean, untainted by the cycle of complaint. Such silence opens an inner space where you touch the origin of all vibration. It is no longer about the story you tell the world, but about returning to your own source. This is the power of the voice within, not just a voice you hear, but a space you return to. Asterisk. It is not the sound you utter, but the sanctuary you enter to restore quiet, where every frequency is purified and renewed. When you return to this space, the words you eventually speak will carry a different quality. They will not emerge from lack, but radiate from fullness. The ancients knew this secret well. They understood the power of blessings, of prayers, of syllables spoken in states of focus, but they also understood the power of silence. In silence, seeds are planted. In silence, vibrations are refined. And it was the union of chosen words and conscious silence that produced the miracles, remembered through history. In daily life, you can apply this principle simply by observing your speech. Notice the unconscious complaints, the phrases that reinforce scarcity. Each time you stop yourself, instead of voicing lack, you cut a link in the chain of poverty. Each time you choose silence over useless speech, you cleanse your vibrational field, and each time you let silence guide you, you grant authority to the inner knowing to speak. Practice this long enough, and you will sense a subtle yet undeniable change. Your inner space grows clearer. You are less drawn into the whirlpool of others' complaints. You begin to feel your own energy lighter, brighter. From that state, you no longer need to force others to change or prove anything. You simply remain present. And that presence itself broadcasts a frequency that the world responds to with opportunity and prosperity. Every word you speak is a seed planted. Yet sometimes the most powerful seed is the one you keep held in conscious silence. It is this choice, more than any other, that determines the quality of the frequency you maintain, and with it, the quality of the life you are building. Silent certainty with gratitude. There is a form of gratitude far beyond courtesy or the habit of saying thank you. Asterisk. It is gratitude in silence, the state that needs no words, not proof, no confirmation from the outside world. It is the expression of a matured energy where you trust the creative process so deeply that you require no evidence before offering thanks. When the seed has not yet sprouted, you are already grateful. When the result has not yet taken shape, you are already giving thanks, and it is this silent certainty that becomes the strongest signal to which the universe responds. Many people are grateful only once they have received. They see the result, they touch the outcome, and only then do they allow their hearts to open. But that is conditional gratitude, gratitude tied to proof. Silent gratitude moves against that habit. It declares, I trust absolutely. I need no verification from the world, for I know the invisible reality has already taken form in the realm of energy. Asterisk. When you hold this state, you demonstrate vibrational maturity, affirming that your frequency is strong enough to summon the result. In truth, gratitude in silence is the purest form of affirmation. It is untainted by fear of missing out, uncolored by anxious waiting. It is as simple as breath, as steady as the heartbeat, as sure as the morning sun. You do not need to think about it. You simply live in it, and that living grants you a creative power of another order. In silent gratitude, you stop sending signals of lack. You no longer tell the universe, I do not have. Asterisk. You broadcast instead the vibration of one who has already received. And the universe, which only reflects frequency, delivers experiences in harmony with that awareness. Silent certainty with gratitude trains you in a vital quality, inner strength not dependent on circumstance. Most people live at the mercy of external ups and downs, celebrating in fortune, unraveling in hardship. But those who practice silent gratitude abide in equanimity regardless of conditions. They have rooted themselves in the unseen, in the level untouched by surface fluctuations. They need not see money in the account to feel abundance, nor hear praise to feel worthy. That independence makes their vibration powerful, drawing prosperity to them. note that this silence is not empty, but charged with energy. It is the silence of one who knows they are in communion with Source. In that state, no words are required, for the energy itself speaks. And this energy is so pure that it bypasses all logic, touching directly the creative essence of the universe. Silent gratitude is a prayer without words, a faith without script. Practicing this in daily life is simple. Though it demands consistency, each morning upon waking, before rushing into the outer world, pause to feel gratitude in silence for what you are calling forth. Even if unseen to the eyes, let your heart expand in thanks as though it were already complete. Each evening before sleep, repeat the ritual so your mind sinks into fullness before dreaming. Day by day, you will notice change not only in outcomes, but in your very perception of life. The key is authenticity. Silent gratitude is not empty repetition, but a genuine feeling, even if only for a fleeting moment. One instant of pure gratitude outweighs 1,000 rote phrases. That feeling, resonating in silence, becomes the clearest signal the universal field receives. As you grow accustomed to this state, you will discover a new steadiness. You no longer swing between hope and fear, no longer scan for signs of confirmation. Instead, you live as though all is already prepared, and in living so, you invite it into form. This becomes the turning point, where your journey grows lighter, where you become a magnet for opportunity and prosperity without strain. Silent certainty with gratitude is an advanced lesson in the art of creation. It is not easy, for the mind is trained to seek proof, but once you move beyond that habit, you enter the state of mastery. Then gratitude is no longer a side practice. It becomes the foundation, the very language the universe understands best, and from that foundation, you shape a life that reflects the peace, the abundance, and the prosperity that have been yours since the beginning. Asterisk 21 days of practice and anchoring vibration in the art of transforming consciousness. Lasting change does not come from a fleeting spark of excitement, but from steady repetition until a new habit is etched into the nervous system. It has been discovered that 21 days is enough to carve a new trail in the mind, to replace old pathways conditioned by scarcity and fear. 21 days is not so long that it feels overwhelming, nor so short that it is ineffective. It is the cycle in which mind, emotion, and energy realign together to adapt to a new frequency during these 21 days. The highest discipline is this: do not share. Do not expose the process outward. Do not seek validation or proof. Every such act is like digging up a seed again and again to see if it has sprouted. The seed disturbed repeatedly never has time to root. Your desire is the same. It requires a period of incubation in silence. Through these 3 weeks, your only task is to sustain faith. You do not need evidence. You do not need constant checking. For checking is doubt, and doubt bends your vibration away from certainty. There is a simple yet powerful technique to support this journey: the use of a vibrational anchor, a small, ordinary object that you assign sacred meaning. It could be a coin, a stone, a bracelet, anything you can keep with you. Each time you touch it, you are not only touching the object, but touching again the consciousness of abundance you have chosen. The anchor becomes a bridge between the physical body and the energetic mind, pulling you back into fullness even when thoughts waver. The 21-day practice is an invitation into true commitment. For change does not come from knowledge, but from discipline. How many times in the past have you begun with fire, only to quit when results did not appear immediately? How many times did you let fear extinguish your progress? This is the chance to rise to another level where temporary emotion no longer controls you, but steadiness shapes your destiny. Throughout these days, each morning you can sit in silence for a few minutes, giving thanks for what is not yet seen. Each night you can touch your anchor and remind yourself that the vibration of sufficiency is alive within you. Each time the mind drifts toward doubt, you can use that anchor to bring yourself back to center. This is not superstition, but the science of consciousness, uniting body, emotion, and intention into a coherent vibration. Remember, strength does not lie in the size of the act, but in consistency. A small flame kept alive steadily will light an entire room, while a great blaze that quickly dies will never warm anything. So it is with frequency. Hold it steady for 21 days, and the nervous system will learn to accept it as the new normal. Once it has become normal, you no longer strive for prosperity. Naturally becomes the atmosphere in which you live. The greatest gift of this practice is inner maturity. After 21 days, not only does the outer world shift, but you yourself are changed. You become calmer, less shaken by circumstance, freer in your choices. You realize that power does not come from chasing something outside, but from knowing how to return to the center, where all answers already wait. From that place, money, opportunity, and abundance appear as natural reflections. Now, I ask you this. Are you willing to devote 21 days to anchoring your consciousness into the frequency of fullness, to sowing in silence, to no longer searching for signs outside yourself? If you feel the resonance of these words, let me know you are here. A single confirmation, even the smallest sign, is proof that you have chosen to stand on this path. Thank you for being present, for listening, and for allowing yourself to become a living testimony to the power of persistence, the integrity of intention. The universe does not respond to shallow tricks or empty techniques repeated without connection to the heart. It responds to one thing only, the integrity of intention. Intention is not a slogan spoken aloud, but the deep motive behind every desire. If that motive arises from fear, greed, or the urge to prove yourself, then no matter how cleverly disguised, the frequency you send still carries the scent of lack. But when intention springs from truth, from the desire to serve, from the yearning to express the soul's authentic nature, the universe recognizes it instantly, and manifestation unfolds with a speed the rational mind struggles to comprehend. This explains why so many who practice the methods of attraction, repeating affirmations hundreds of times, still see only faint results. They do not lack technique, they lack integrity of intention. Outwardly, they may say, I want wealth, asterisk, but inwardly they're driven only by fear of poverty. The vibration they emit is not aligned with their words. The universe does not listen to language, it listens to vibration. And vibration is determined solely by the true motive within. Integrity means inner and outer unity. It means that when you speak of your desire, you truly believe and live as though it is so. It means that when you seek money, it is no longer to patch emptiness, but to expand, to serve, to give from fullness. When the intention is pure, every step becomes lighter. Every door opens of itself. You no longer force, because you are in harmony with the natural current of the universe. Money is but a form of energy, and energy always seeks balance. If you crave wealth merely to prove yourself, you are already out of balance, for you have declared that without money, you are not valuable. But if you seek prosperity to express talent, to share light, to turn vision into collective benefit, then you act from balance, And in balance, money flows. As the inevitable result, history shows that those who changed the world never placed money first. Yet money always found them. Why? Because their intentions carried integrity. They did not pursue wealth to fill a void. They simply sought to embody their essence fully. And in that process, the universe delivered every resource they required. This is the forgotten secret. Money is not the ultimate goal, but the faithful companion of a pure intention. Integrity of intention also means daring to be honest with yourself. How many times have you said you wanted to help others when deep down you only wanted escape from lack? How many times have you cloaked your dreams in the garment of service to conceal self-interest? The universe is not deceived by such coverings. It responds only to what you truly hold in your heart. Only when you have the courage to strip away disguise, to keep only the purest motive, do you enter the frequency to which the universe always responds. When intention is clean, the speed of manifestation changes dramatically. Unexpected opportunities appear. The right relationships arrive at the right moment. Doors that once seemed sealed swing open. You no longer chase, for the current itself lifts you forward. This is not illusion, but an unchanging principle. Where integrity is present, resonance is present, and resonance pulls in every external condition needed to support the inner journey. To practice integrity of intention is also to dissolve the division between giving and receiving. When you live in essence, giving and receiving become two sides of the same current. You give not to earn, but because giving is the natural overflow of fullness, you receive not from greed, but because you are sustaining the balance of energy. In this state, money and prosperity arrive faster, in greater measure, and with lasting stability. Finally, integrity brings peace, for when your motive is pure, you no longer need to justify or prove yourself. You no longer fear the judgment of others, for, your intention is right. From that peace radiates a clear, unwavering frequency, drawing manifestation more swiftly, more powerfully, and without resistance. This is the foundation upon which prosperity ceases to be a rare prize of struggle and becomes a natural condition of life itself. The present erases the past. In the pursuit of prosperity, there is a common illusion that keeps many trapped in cycles of scarcity. The belief that financial past dictates financial future, that past failures, mistakes, debts, and poor choices are chains that bind every step forward. But the deeper truth is that the past has no power except the power you grant it. Every present moment is a fresh chance to broadcast a different frequency, and when the frequency changes, the entire field of possibility reorganizes to meet you. A financial mistake in the past is only an event, but when you replay it in your mind, condemning yourself, you turn it into an identity. You believe you are a failure, that you are incapable of managing, that you are unworthy of wealth. That identification becomes the real barrier. Yet the moment you stop giving power to the old story, it loses effect. The universe does not count how many times you fell. It only responds to the vibration you are sending now. The present carries the power to erase every trace of the past. With one aligned decision in this very instant, you create a turning point. The new frequency instantly sends a message into the quantum field, and that field, neutral and infinite, rearranges itself to reflect your new choice. Failures, losses, and years of scarcity become irrelevant, for they no longer receive energy from you. They are shadows, and shadows vanish when light appears. This is why those who once went bankrupt can return to build greater empires than before. They are not shackled by records of the past. They simply choose to believe in the present, just as a field burned bare can bloom again the next season. The human spirit can sprout anew the moment intention shifts. The past is not a life sentence. It is old soil waiting for new seeds. The issue is never how many times you failed, but whether you dare to acknowledge that right now you have the full power to begin again. Every thought you select, every emotion you nurture, every word you speak is a command sent into the field of possibility. That field does not care who you once were. It only answers who you are in this moment. This is the absolute freedom humanity has been given, though few realize it. Let the present be your new foundation. When you sit quietly, take a deep breath, and choose to radiate fullness, faith, and gratitude, you are reprogramming the nervous system, rewriting the signals of the energy field around you. This is the power of the voice within, not just a voice you hear, but a space you return to. Asterisk, it is the place where old stories lose hold, and you return to the timeless truth. You are a free creator with the right to choose again at any moment. The danger lies in making the past your measure of the future, saying, I failed before, I must fail again. Asterisk, that is not law, it is projection of belief. The past exists only if you carry it into the present, if you keep retelling it, if you collaborate with it by repeating the same vibration. But if you stop feeding it, it dissolves like ashes scattered in the wind. True freedom is not escaping circumstances, but escaping the story tied to them the moment you cease to declare, I am a victim of the past. Asterisk is the moment you step onto a new timeline, and that timeline requires no past to prove your worth. It only requires who you choose to be now. The miracle is that as soon as you choose differently, reality begins to shift. Opportunities emerge where none were visible. New people enter your life. Intuition sharpens, guiding you down fresh paths, all because you stopped identifying with the old self and chose a different frequency. It does not take a lifetime, not even a decade, only one decision in the present, and movement begins instantly. Engrave this truth. The present is the hand holding the pen. The past is but the page already written. You cannot change the printed words, but you can always write the next chapter in an entirely new direction. And as you persist in writing with a new vibration, the old pages fade, losing weight in the story of your life. When you grasp this, you no longer fear past failures. You are no longer haunted by numbers in the account, by mistaken choices, or by losses that cannot return. For all of it becomes meaningless the moment you choose again, and that choice, practiced with certainty and in silence, becomes the foundation upon which prosperity reveals itself. Swift, stable, and natural alignment and the signs of manifestation. When a person steadily holds their frequency in silence, the outer world begins to move in subtle ways without the need for force. Doors open. People appear. Opportunities that once seemed random arrive all at once. Yet none of this is coincidence. It is simply the natural effect of resonance, the precise response of the universe to the consistency you maintain. Alignment is not magic, nor is it destiny's favoritism. It is the inevitable result when your personal energy field broadcasts a clear, conflict-free signal, when your heart no longer wavers between desire and doubt, between longing and fear. Your signal becomes pure, and the unseen field already containing infinite possibilities immediately responds, arranging circumstances that mirror your vibration. Those who have touched this state often describe life as suddenly effortless. They meet the right person at the right time, receive vital information in a casual conversation, or discover the solution the moment they stop worrying. This is not luck. It is the sign of manifestation, the evidence of resonance. When you radiate the frequency of fullness, fullness is present everywhere to meet you. The key is to learn how to recognize these signs. The universe often answers in small signals, in repeating synchronicities, in whispers of intuition. If you look only for grand outcomes, you may miss the message. But if you listen closely, you will notice every small step is guided. An unexpected invitation, a book that falls into your hands, a chance meeting that opens a new path, all of it is the universe's way of showing that your signal has been heard and is being answered. Alignment transforms how you view coincidence. You stop seeing it as meaningless oddity and begin to understand it as the language of the universe. Each aligned event, each fitting sequence is the response to the vibration you sustain. When you are scattered, signals arrive in confusion, but when you hold silent certainty, the signals come clear, strong, and consistent. You can witness this in the lives of those who no longer struggle. They do not run everywhere, seeking nor strain to control every detail. Yet what they need seems to come to them. Their careers advance not by stepping on others, but by resonance at the right time. Their relationships expand not through begging, but through natural encounters with those on the same frequency. Prosperity flows to them not from ambition's push, but from the magnetism of stability. This shows the difference between effort and resonance. Effort is believing that everything depends on your pressure, your striving, your fight. Resonance is knowing that pure energy itself draws what belongs to you. This is why at times you may do less, yet receive more, because you have tuned to the right frequency, and the universe carries out the rest. Alignment and its signs are also a measure of your journey. If life feels smoother, if opportunities arise with ease, if relationships feel supportive, it is a sign you are holding the right vibration. If obstacles, pressure, and dead ends keep appearing, it is a call to realign within. The universe does not punish it, only reflects, and you always hold the power to change the signal and thus the outcome. One of the secrets to sustaining alignment is patience. Not every sign appears immediately. Some processes require time to arrange. But if you remain steady in silence, certain in your knowing, the flow will come like tuning a radio. At first you hear static, but once you land on the right frequency, the sound comes through clear. Once you have tasted alignment, you will never want to return to struggle, for you will have discovered another way of living, lighter, yet far more effective. You will no longer ask, how do I force the universe? Asterisk, but instead, how do I hold my frequency steady? Asterisk. Because when your frequency is steady, manifestation is inevitable. Alignment is not an exception for the few. It is a principle available to anyone willing to stay consistent in silence. When you step into it, you understand life has never been a chain of random events, but always the precise resonance of what you carry within. From that understanding, you live with the unshakable trust that everything you need will find you at the right time, in the right way, through the right people. The eternal essence and the invitation, all of these principles that seem so new are in truth only a reminder of an ancient truth. Across generations, sages have pointed to the same path. They called it by many names, yet the essence never changed. Return to the secret chamber of consciousness, where there is no noise, where no witness is required. There you practice silences, gratitude, integrity, and allow life itself to reveal its true face. This is the secret within the secret, the one thing that never changes no matter the era or the culture. In that inner chamber, you no longer wear masks for the world. You no longer need to prove anything. You no longer chase praise or fear judgment. You rest in the stillness of your own being and realize that every prayer, every desire, every search outside has always been leading you here. It is here that the inner voice speaks not loud and thunderous, but soft, steady, and powerful enough to reorder your entire life. It reminds you that wealth was never something to chase. You have always been wealth itself, waiting only to wipe away the dust that clouds your vision. The ancient traditions all teach the same foundation. Manifestation begins within. Jesus said, "Enter the secret place and pray in silence, and what is hidden shall be revealed openly." Asterisk. The sages of the East emphasize contemplation and purity of mind. Though the languages differ, the message is the same. Silence is the key that unlocks the infinite treasure, and when gratitude is cultivated within that silence, your vibration becomes the purest prayer, needing no proof, no repetition of affirmations. Integrity is also indispensable. If your intention is not clean, if you seek wealth only to cover emptiness, then every technique is hollow. But when you desire prosperity to express your truth, to serve, to bring value, the universe not only opens doors, it carries you farther than reason can imagine. Manifestation then accelerates at a pace the intellect cannot comprehend, for your energy is now fully aligned with the eternal flow. Stop chasing wealth, become it. This is the final shift, and also the hardest, because the human mind is trained to pursue outcomes, to seek external confirmation of worth. But true wealth is never born of pursuit. It comes when you recognize that your essence is already fullness. When you live as one who has, when you decide from wholeness instead of lack, when you give thanks even for what is unseen, you have already become prosperity. From that state, nothing can stand in your way. The outer world is only a mirror. If you see lack, it is because within you sends the signal of lack. If you see abundance, it is because within you has settled into certainty. With this understanding, you are no longer trapped in the game of numbers or titles. You use money as a tool, but are not ruled by it. You live in true freedom, for you have found the source of wealth that cannot be taken, cannot be bankrupt, cannot be stolen. The eternal essence is contained in this invitation. Stop running outward. Enter the chamber of consciousness. Learn the art of silence, of gratitude in silence, and of living in integrity with your truest intention. All external methods, all elaborate techniques are only secondary tools. The foundation never changes. Silence, gratitude, and integrity. This is not moral advice, it is the operating law of the universe, for the universe does not hear your words. It only reflects the vibration you release. Let these lessons close one circle and open a new beginning. From now on, you are no longer the seeker of the secret, but the practitioner of the secret. You no longer ask how to attract you. Begin living as though you already are. Every word, every action, every choice becomes evidence that you have returned to your true essence. From there, wealth is no longer something to achieve. It is something you live, radiate, and embody. This is the eternal essence, and this is the invitation. Stop searching outside. Step within. Let silence lead. For when you have become prosperity, you will no longer fear loss, no longer worry about lack, no longer exhaust yourself in pursuit. You will know that everything has always been present, and all you ever needed was to return and live in it. You have walked through all 16 levels of the journey, from discovering the secret of silence, to recognizing the trap of early sharing, to understanding the vibrational law of money, to practicing 21 days of anchoring your frequency, and to living with the integrity of intention. None of this ends at knowledge. It is an invitation to practice. Stop chasing wealth, become it. Let silence be your foundation. Gratitude to your breath, and integrity your compass, and you will find that wealth flows to you naturally. This is not merely a journey of money, but of returning to your true essence. And as you walk this path, you yourself become the living testimony of the eternal power of the Spirit